Hello and welcome to the game highlights for the third game in the Google DeepMind Challenge match. I'm Chris Garlock with the American Go e-Journal, joined by Michael Redmond, 9Dan Professional. This was the key match, although actually every match has been key, but this one particularly so because Lee Sedol had his back to the wall. He was down 2-0, needed one win to keep his hopes alive, and that didn't happen.
Right.
But we're going to take a look. He had a heck of a game, and let's take a look and see what happened in the game.
Yeah, this was a very exciting game with a lot of fighting, and I think Lee Sedol, he played a fighting opening really, and played true to his style. And actually, he played some very powerful fighting in the game. So I think it would be very difficult for most players to beat him the way he played today.
As with the other two matches, it was incredibly entertaining.
Yeah. And right here we see Black playing the high Chinese Fuseki, which is a bit unusual nowadays. But it is a Fuseki, an opening in which Lee Sedol can show his power. So it's, I think it's much more than the first two games actually. It's sort of true to the way that Lee Sedol likes to play, and the opening in which he will be a formidable player.
And he had done an all-nighter, not last night, but the night before. We had the day off yesterday, stayed up until 6 a.m. going over it with, I think, 4 or 5 other top pros.
Of his friends, they were top pros, yeah.
Right.
Well, it's good that he didn't do it last night. And it's a kind of a natural thing to really go into this kind of intense study overnight after a loss like that, because it's going to be pretty hard to sleep anyway, because you're going to be all hyped up, and also the fact that your mind will be snapping back into the game,
right,
and you keep trying to find out why you lost.
Right.
So you have to completely go through that and find your mistakes, and then sometimes you're satisfied to the point that you can go to sleep, but. There is a point in his going through it all night and trying to find some weaknesses maybe in AlphaGo. I don't think he did. So in this game, Black is playing a Moyo. That might be part of the plan. It also sort of works with Lee Sedol's Go. So I think there's nothing wrong with what he's doing here.
Okay.
This move that White played, AlphaGo, it's not unheard of. It's maybe a bit unusual for White to be playing this, because White's sort of inviting Black to invade somewhere around here and make trouble with. But since White does have these two stones in the background, the fight here is going to be fightable for White. So White's sort of inviting Black in and asking Black to start a fight, that's the part that's unusual for White to be doing this. But the local fight will be an advantage for White, because White does have these two stones to back up White in that area. Now it's about time for White to jump into Black's Moyo. Some players, very few actually, but some players would be continuing to build up White's Moyo and letting Black to build Black's Moyo up. Generally, just because of the one move difference, Black playing first, Black's Moyo, his territorial framework tends to be bigger. And quite often if the players play the same number of moves on the sides, then the final move for Black will be somewhere in the center of the board, and that will really make Black's framework much, much bigger than White's. So this is a good time for White to sort of break that pattern and jump into the Moyo. So White played a two-space jump. At this point, the normal way to continue attacking White would be to play something like this, and maybe a Kosumi for White too. This way,
sure,
and then here. Black is taking territory along the side. White is still not safe. White would continue with something like this, and then there would be a lot of variations. But you can see that Black is taking territory while threatening White, and then after, maybe at this point, or maybe after a while, Black would be switching to the lower side or the right side. This would be a more conventional way for Black to continue. The move that Black did play, this move here, is a very aggressive move. It's actually a sort of a scary way for Black to be playing, because when White does as White did in the game, the Kosumi there, this White is just playing to make a life for this group, and it's sort of going to scoop out all the black territory in the immediate area. And so black has to get a good attack going. Otherwise, a normal kind of an attack will not be good enough to make up for the sacrifice that black is making in the territory on the sides here. And both sides will be sort of disappearing, as we will see as the moves continue.
Do you think that Lee Sedol planned to just go ahead and fight, his style from?
Right. Well, I think he could have easily played the Kosumi instead, but the attachment here to divide white into two and try to get a decisive attack is sort of true to his style.
Okay.
It might have been. It's sometimes considered an overplay because the cornerstones are not all that strong, and white can use that to reinforce the white group. So most players would hesitate to do that, but I think if Lee Sedol did that against most pros, he would be able to make it work. And so it's pretty impressive that it didn't work in this game. Shows how strong AlphaGo is. Yes, that's right. And now the corner is a bit weak, so black added one move to the corner. And that sort of stops white from playing something on this side later too. So white moves out, yes. And black pushes. And covering here is a good shape. Well, it's sort of a natural shape that any pro would choose actually, because extending here and black can play here. Allowing white's shape to fall apart like this would be very bad for white. It would be very bad shape and it would be just too heavy. So this is natural. He plays this exchange before jumping out. So this is a very nice, a natural sequence. It's not really anything special, but it's just a sequence of good moves that really have a nice kind of feeling to them.
When we were reviewing this, you really liked this entire 20, 30 move sequence coming out of this. You kept saying it was beautiful.
Well, white's just playing sort of very natural looking moves. There's nothing, no extra, it's not as if white is sort of muscling up and trying to do something special. White's just playing what look like normal moves, and in the process is sort of refuting black. Like if black plays something like this, then white's going to get out in the center, and these stones are beginning to look like they are having no problem. They're beginning to look like a strong group. And so it's a very smooth way for white to sort of move out into the center. Black continued the attack with this. And here, yes.
It's this move, right?
That's right.
I love this move.
That move it's already looking like it could be sort of like a winning move because it's much more effective than the slower moves like this or somewhere around here. It's much more effective when black plays a defensive move like this and white can play something on the outside, getting a great sequence of moves on the outside and just punishing black here, while black has to play another move to actually connect them on the side. Yeah, black would have to put another move in there. So black counterattacks, white pushes, and again, oh sorry, that's me. Yeah, and again, going directly against the black group would be a bit dangerous, so white sliding here is another nice move.
Yeah.
At this point, we're just talking about really good moves. It's not as if Human players don't play moves like this too, but the whole sequence here is sort of leading to that, and it's the sort of effortless way that AlphaGo is setting up this good position, and the game is already looking good for white. So basically, where did black go wrong? The only move that I can find that I don't like is the attachment move, the original attachment move. The necessity of taking it back so far is just sort of illustrating how strong AlphaGo is.
Right.
Because one mistake early in the game usually doesn't have that effect. And so the way it can punish that with such normal looking moves, that's really the hallmark of a very strong player. White escapes. And now black has all of these stones that are not really very well connected. So that's why black has to play a number of very slow moves here just to connect his group. White connects and black connects. And you can see black is being forced to play sort of dame points, useless points, just to save his stones. And then white jumped here and here. And white connected once. And this is still a very complicated fight. Like this white group here and maybe in that area, if we combine those two, that white has a potential to make one eye maybe, but that's a potential one eye. white needs one eye elsewhere. So basically, white cannot afford to be surrounded here. Black also has a weak group here, so it's really, and black has a weak group here. Because of the white stones that are friendly for white in the area, this is already looking like a very difficult fight for black. Here and here, and here. White jumps. And with this exchange, this group is cut off from this group. This white group is still not settled, really. This white group is not settled. But on a whole, we see that the black groups seem to be weaker than the white groups in general. So I think that this looks like it's a fight that is advantageous for white. Black plays here. This is threatening to connect underneath, basically. At this point, I played a move, white played a move that I thought was a bit slack.
That's this
one, yes.
Yeah.
I would have been tempted just to keep on attacking black.
Right.
And these three stones are really so weak that I think that white could have helped it, could have done it this way. There is a lot of danger just because there are so many weak groups floating around. If black can find some way to play some forcing moves against this white group and maybe close this in, it looks a bit unlikely to me. But I think that when AlphaGo plays a move like this that looks a bit slack, it actually means that AlphaGo has already assessed the position and decided that white's ahead, or AlphaGo is ahead, that is. In this case, it's white. And that AlphaGo can afford to let black off the hook just a little bit because AlphaGo already has control of the game.
I wonder if this is something that we can learn from AlphaGo already, is that by doing that, simplifying the game, I mean, obviously has a much more stronger look ahead and so forth.
Well, I think that actually I think people can make the judgment, like professionals can make the judgment that this is looking good for white. But I think that I would have trouble saying that this is the safer course to victory. I see. Because even in this case, it takes a lot of doing to take this all the way to a win. We saw all sorts of complicated stuff at the end of the game.
Yes, we did.
And that kind of stuff will happen. And so in some ways, if white can win the immediate fight here, after playing this move, then it will be a quick end and much more easy for white to, less stressful, less time. But of course, AlphaGo doesn't mind about that.
Not an issue.
So white plays here. Black plays once here to make a weakness in white's wall. White has to answer here. And then black connects underneath. So white pushed through once. Black is sort of being let off the hook here because these stones are connected. If black plays one more move, say, for instance, here, then these stones will have a live shape. So white jumps here. Let's just do a few more moves. Like this, and white pushes. At this point, black is alive with one more move. White stones still do not have eyes, so black does have some potential attack. Ideally, black should be able to use that attack to sort of break open the side here, in which case it seems black might have a chance. But actually, since black's territories on the whole are pretty small, I think actually it's already looking good for AlphaGo.
The game goes on for quite a while. We encourage you to look at the full stream on the web to get all the details. But I think, first of all, thank you, Michael, for a great commentary, and congratulations to AlphaGo and the entire DeepMind team for a great win. There are 2 more rounds to go, and I'm sure that Lee Sedol will be continuing to bring his A game, and we will be there as well.
Yes.
So thanks again.
Thank you.